Fort Morgan, Colorado, an hour northeast of Denver, it's a mid-sized town of about 11,000 people on the banks of the Platte River. Families here share several things in common: a love for family and a pride in the work they do every day. These small businesses also share a history of generational ownership, and more recently, they share a story of near financial collapse.
And possibly filing for bankruptcy, it got to that point where we just were desperate and we didn't know what to do.
Frank and I actually...
The details are different from business to business, but the end result is the same. Their local community bank stepped in and literally saved the day.
We probably wouldn't be standing right here if it wasn't for Morgan Fed and for their team of people that made a lot of things happen for us.
Well, they simply made it happen.
The bank that made it happen is Morgan Federal, or Morgan Fed as the locals call it. And this is the story of what a local bank can mean to local families.
Good afternoon, Quad County. This is Candy.
Les Urich loves being a self-employed plumber.
So I've done it all my life. My dad was a plumber when I was growing up.
His plumbing business has 4 trucks, 12 employees, and Gizmo, the office cat.
Huge.
Jeff Canfield will tell you he loves the work that comes with owning a drilling company, but he absolutely hates the business side of it. As a child, Angie Edwards-Aker never thought she'd end up owning her grandfather's grocery store, but she does. When she took over ownership, her bank was bought out by a national bank, and there were problems right off the bat. So they switched to Morgan Federal.
They have helped us continue on, having those people to rely on and to be able to go to for the funding for just our everyday banking and keeping that independent feel alive.
For Les and Jeff, they weren't just simply looking for an independent feel, they were close to shutting down. At Quad County Plumbing, the bank they were with at the time was calling in all their loans and all at once. It was the darkest of times until Morgan Federal stepped in with a financial plan to keep them in business.
I don't think we could have done the things that we were able to do in the last few months if it hadn't been for them.
Things were just as dire at Canfield Drilling. Jeff's granddad started this business 90 years ago. Recently, Jeff tried buying out his brother, but the deal became complicated, and their only option appeared to be to sell the entire company on the courthouse steps at auction. Out of the blue, a rep from Morgan Fed just happened to give him a phone call.
And it was total by chance. One of the bank officers called me up and says, well, we haven't talked for a while.
Morgan Fed had no idea the company and its 15 employees were facing shutdown, so the bank put a package together allowing Jeff to buy out his brother.
Got it grounded.
It was the first time Jeff had ever applied for a business loan, and he says at first it was very intimidating.
And when I walked out of that office, when they told me what their terms would be and what the rate was and so forth, I felt like I was 10 feet tall, not 5'8".
They're standing just as tall at Graff's Turf Company. Jim and Marty wanted to buy the business from Jim's dad and allow him to retire. The process seemed unlikely until, you guessed it, Morgan Fed got involved.
Morgan Fed welcomed us with open arms and made a lot of things possible and paved a way for us that put us here 10 years, almost 10 years down the road.
And then this has
Sign maker and artist Randy Ballheim will tell you the same thing about Morgan Federal. They financed his original ideas to build his home with straw barrels. And more importantly, they have allowed him to grow his sign business into a large creative workspace, now with 3 employees.
I applaud them for having faith in me.
Faith is a good word to describe the business style of Morgan Federal. It's a way of doing things that goes back a long way. A.C. Berryhill started Morgan Federal in 1935 during the Great Depression as Morgan County Federal Savings and Loan. He passed the business on to his son Jack in 1959.
Jack was a great guy, enjoyed working with him, good sense of humor, hard worker, ran a great shop.
Jack and Perry Berryhill had 5 kids. Sons Jim and Mike play a big role in our story. We'll start with Mike. He studied in college to become a CPA and never planned to take over the family business. But then his dad sat him down in 1986 to try and talk him into it.
He said, well, I'm not sure if you're making the right decision or not, but he says, I'll tell you one thing, is for sure, and that is you will meet the nicest people in this business.
Meeting people is really easy for Mike in Fort Morgan. It doesn't hurt that he grew up here and went to school with nearly all of his customers, like Les, Jeff, and so many others.
I just love being out here walking around.
This is the Godert's Dairy Farm. With over 2,500 head, they are milking around the clock. Mike knows every square inch of the operation, and he's known Jim Godert since they were both 3 years old.
They just run an honest business, and they work hard, and it doesn't get any more genuine than that.
Jim and Marie Godert are preparing to buy the dairy operation from Jim's mom through Morgan Federal.
They have such a good reputation. It's a good bank. We trust them totally.
We're going to go spread some cow manure.
And now their son, Brian Godert, is starting his own business. The first big step in that process was the purchase of this massive Kenworth for land application.
The Morgan Federal Bank helped me with that.
Morgan Federal's reputation as a community bank goes well beyond its lending practices. They also support a local nonprofit art school by providing scholarships for kids who otherwise might not be able to come here.
We're here from Morgan Federal Bank to talk to you guys about money today. Do you guys like money?
Their employees lead elementary school kids in the Teaching Children to Save program. And once a year, they pay admission for families to come to the historic downtown movie theater for a free show. They also help this same theater finance a major upgrade to high definition. Without that upgrade, this theater would not be open. Art scholarships, education, and theater tickets are just a small part of how Morgan Fed helps working-class families. This low-income apartment complex is another. When facing badly needed renovations, Morgan Federal stepped in and secured a $300,000 affordable housing program grant through FHLBank Topeka. In fact, Morgan Federal has been a member of FHLBank since they opened their doors, making them one of the longest tenured members. And they still rely on FHLBank today for several services, including liquidity.
Sometimes you don't have enough cash. I mean, cash is our inventory, and if we run out of cash, the Federal Home Loan Bank's there to provide cash to us. I mean, it's huge. It keeps us in business on a daily basis. We don't have to worry about it.
Hi, Lexi.
Morgan Federal also takes advantage of the Homeownership Set-Aside Program, HSP. It's FHLBank's grant program that helps homeowners buy their first home. The Walter family was able to take advantage, and now they have a yard to play in and a home to raise their family.
Just a roof over our head and a place where my kids can grow up. What, buddy? Don't touch that stuff.
To date, Morgan Fed has helped 24 families with their dream of home ownership through the HSB program. They've also been a longtime participant in FHLBank's Mortgage Partnership Finance, or MPF, program as a way to support their mortgage lending.
Oh, maybe the sun's going to shine today.
Every day is a good day for Betsy Porter. She runs the local United Way, and the favorite part of her morning is a short walk to Morgan Fed.
Hey, Betsy. Good morning, Trista. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Very well, thank you.
When you walk in, it's, hi Angie, how are ya? How's your day going?
They'll sit down and have coffee with you.
You walk in the door, everybody says hi to you.
Very friendly, yeah.
They'll invite you to their home for dinner.
They really, truly make you feel at home.
So what is the future for Fort Morgan, Colorado? While nothing in life is certain, we do know this. Morgan Fed will play a key role in this town going forward. At Edwards Grocery, if you look up to the ceiling, you'll see the story of Angie's family laid out generation by generation. Her granddad was selling produce to Jeff's granddad right after the drilling company opened. And just like so many others in Fort Morgan, they very well knew Mike's granddad, A.C. Berryhill, over at the bank. Now Fort Morgan's next generation is ready for its place in the sun. Jeff has secured the drilling company for his sons to take over. Randy is grooming longtime employee Justin to take over the sign business. Les now has his business on secure footing without the threat of bankruptcy.
We know our customers, and we make a lot of character loans, I guess is how I would put it. You know, we just know the people are good.
Mike worked at the bank for 6 years before his brother Jim came on board in 1992.
This is a very special place.
With their dad nearing retirement, the decision for Jim to join the team was an emotional one. In the end, he chose family.
And I thought if I don't come back and have this period of time working with my dad, I'll regret that.
Making decisions based on character, based on a love of family and friends and mutual respect, has become the Berry Hills reputation. No one would ever accuse them of doing it any other way.
Helping people in need, that's just kind of part of what we do.
I mean, they have a stake in this community, and they have worked very hard to be the highest in ethics and integrity, and that says a lot, and that's what's allowed them to be successful, and that's what's allowed them to grow the way they've grown because of that, because of their reputation.
They've allowed me to pursue my dreams.
I wish my dad and my grandfather could see the bank today. That's where that source of pride would be. They would be so proud of where this has come in over 80 years.
Congratulations, Morgan Federal. You are this year's FHL Bank Community Leader Award winner.